Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Writers Mindscape.
Mindscape.
We're gonna punch you in this time.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
It's in your contract. I'm really sorry you're not allowed to do that.
It's not on my napkin. I'm sorry.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Did you check the other side?
Yes, I did.
No, it's there. It's in the
you-
fine print.
Did you check inside?
Yes, it's in there as well.
No. That's where mine is.
It's mentioned 5 times that you're not allowed to physically cause harm to me.
Yeah, it's in there 12 times that I am if you piss me off.
I'm really sorry. Nope.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tim.
I'm Adam.
Breaking tradition, not introducing ourselves again.
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah! Lucky us. And look at that spike.
Anyway, we're discussing class systems.
Class, in general.
What we mean by that is, how does your society structure itself?
Economically,
Yeah.
Basically, as well as their interactions with each other and everyday life.
Yeah. What kind of world do you picture going on? How, the sun rises on your world. What is going on?
Yeah.
I'm not saying your main character. I'm saying what's going on. Is it one neighborhood?
Yep.
Okay, well, do you see everyone at 7 a.m.? A group of people leave, then the kids leave, and then very specific people come in and out of the neighborhood. What is the everyday life of going on in this neighborhood? Is it a poor neighborhood? Is there a class system to your society?
Sorry. You just want to rant there.
I did.
Are you okay? You're back on Coke, aren't you?
Lots of caffeine today.
White powder that I saw you sprinkle in there? Yeah. I know exactly what that is.
No, actually, I did find a water flavor things that actually has caffeine in it.
I was actually going to say sugar, but okay.
No, it's caffeine. Like, they put caffeine in there, too. And there's sugar in there. Of course, there's sugar in there.
So actually a good example of what you were talking about is the Hunger Games. The opening to the Hunger Games.
Right.
Is we actually see Candace about to go hunting and all that. And she mentions at this time normally you'd see miners marching off to the mines, but they're not because of the weeping. And you're gaining a sense of her everyday life.
Yes.
Right off the bat. And even though it was a different day, she explains what she normally would be seeing. It kind of gives you that stuff like that as what you want to cover. You want to put this into your stories all the time to help out stuff. But you also want to know what everyday life is for everything if you're building a world.
Yeah. Do you have a true class system?
Yeah.
Within your society that your main character occupies. Is it a royal family?
Yep.
Then those who work for the royal family. Then, which usually it's your duchesses and your dukes.
Yep.
And then do you have an entire group that works for those people? And then you have the very bottom. It's people who are it's your labor.
Oh yeah. Is it based on blood then?
Yes.
Or people who with the right kind of blood are up at the top? People who maybe offshoot of these people.
They're just below them.
They're below them, they're not really important, but they're far more important than the very bottom.
Oh yes. Do you have a full a system where none of that matters?
Is there a gap where you literally have the rich and you have the poor? There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
Do you have, like you said, nothing matters?
Exactly.
Is it more based around trade?
Mm-hmm.
And there is no money.
Yeah. Do you have a Star Trek level system where it's just like, no, technically almost everyone's in the military, but there's no one looks at it as a military.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're scientists and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, it's just by rank then.
Yeah. So it really comes down to how everything works. Is it when it comes to interactions with these people, is it okay for someone at the very bottom to interact with someone at the rich?
Exactly.
In any way, shape, or form.
Do you have that type of system? Or is it one of those that, when someone at the very top walks past someone at the very bottom, that the person at the bottom has to cast their eyes away?
And just cast their eyes away.
Or they will be beaten in public.
Yeah. Maybe the only time that poor people can see the top, the king or whoever's in charge, is because of a dispute.
Or a public address.
Yeah, that's the only time they're allowed to see the person and be in their presence. Or maybe you live in a society where the poor has to send someone of notable class or high enough rank that can be in front of the king to represent you, thus having to find the money to pay for that person, or you just can't do anything.
Or you're just going to be stuck at the bottom forever.
Or you just no
one's ever going to hear your complaint.
It doesn't matter if someone broke the law and you're in the right, because you don't have
the clout to be able to represent yourself.
But or to have the money to send someone to do it for you. So it comes down to
Sorry about that. I just needed to take some headache medicine.
Well, so it comes down to what are your class systems? What do they look like? How do they interact? Do they like each other? Do they hate each other?
Yeah.
Is there some who hate, some who don't? Are there people who are trying to improve the system, who don't? Really kind of comes down to it. I mean, a good example of this is our country today.
Yeah. We have class systems, even though we declare that anybody can move up. We still have them.
Yes.
I mean, it is kind of a thing. You will always have people who are poor.
Yes.
You will always have people who are rich.
Yep.
Even if you try to get rid of it, because greed is a natural thing, people will try to make more money for themselves.
They will try to find a way to offset it in a different way.
Right.
To improve themselves.
Yes. You'll always have somebody who will take advantage of somebody else to get money from them.
Yep. So it really just kind of comes down to all this stuff.
Good example for class systems within our actual world, Earth's history.
Yeah.
Look at India and Japan.
Yes.
Japan, at one point, it didn't matter. I mean, today their class systems are a little bit more flexible, but there was a point where if you were born into the agriculture and the fishing families, didn't matter how much money you ever made, the people who worked in the professionals were considered better than you.
Yep.
You could be a multi-billionaire and have control over the entire trade of, I don't know, cucumbers.
Yep.
Just making an example. But the person who worked in an office for technically you in society, they were more important than you.
Yep.
And it was just like, oh, okay. That's a pretty rigid system. I mean, today it's a lot more flexible.
Yeah, but it just goes to show you how it is.
Yeah.
Money really didn't have much to do with it. It was what you did.
It was what you were born into.
Yep.
And what you did on a day-to-day basis.
Yes. Speaking of day-to-day basis, let's kind of move on over to everyday life.
Okay.
And focus on that. So we kind of covered this a little bit, but what goes on in your world day to day?
Yeah.
Oh, normal stuff? Okay, we're done with that, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Oh, that's a quick...
But what is normal stuff?
Exactly. Another example of this would be for... Adam, you're going to love this.
Yes.
Brandon Sanders is Mistborn.
Of course.
Brandon really gets a really good idea of what that world is like in the Mistborn world. Because at night, the mists roll in. They're always mists. There's things called mist wraiths that people are afraid of that can kill you, eat you.
So you don't go out at night.
Yes. The more superstitious won't go out at night. And you have the Mistborn who have all the elementic powers of elemency. They're the ones who will jump around at night, fly around, and can kind of do their own thing. Almost like they're above the law. I mean, if you get caught, yes, you can be punished.
Right.
But at the same time...
It's during the mist time, so people aren't really going to be trying to find you.
People ignore you.
Yeah.
If they see something flying up in there,
they're just like, and nope.
They just go like, oh, that's just a Mistborn. Okay, I'm done. I'm not worry about them. And the houses in Citadel are the ones that kind of have the power. I mean, in the first one, the Final Empire, the first book of the series, I can't remember his name, but the evil overlord is the true power. But you only see him very little, and he just kind of lets the houses kind of do their thing.
Okay.
But if they don't like to do something that he doesn't want, he will have action.
Okay.
But the houses have it, so the family houses have their own Mistborns for armies, and it's really kind of cool to show you what the day life is like and nightlife depending on where you fall.
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the easiest ways to introduce what your everyday life is going to be like for characters is as you're introducing your main character.
Yep.
You start describing, oh, hey, your main character is a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And when she wakes up, she says goodbye to her dad, who's going off to the mines.
Yeah.
He's a miner. So every day she's up at 5 a.m. to say goodbye to him because he's going to work. And, then she goes and does this thing.
Yep.
It's how you describe what the actions, of your main character throughout the first day really kind of maps out how the everyday life is. Because once you really kick off your story, what you're saying is for your main character that everyday life is no longer the same.
Yeah, but here's another thing about everyday life you can show is, well, once your main character is out of their everyday life, you're going to be seeing people in theirs.
Exactly.
And as you visit different areas of your world, it can be vastly different.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe in your main character's world, girls go to school, and that she ends up in an area, no, girls stay home.
Right.
And learn from their mothers how to cook, knit, all that stuff. And the boys go to school. Or maybe if you want to have some more unique work, it's reversed. Girls go to school, but boys stay home.
Yeah, maybe boys go off to military school.
Yeah.
And their job is to learn how to be a military person. Well, girls go off to, I don't know, your magic school.
Yeah. And so it can be determined based on where you are, and showing the everyday life of those areas helps.
Yes.
And throwing these little nuggets in there really fleshes out the world. Even if they're not really important to the story, it makes your world feel alive.
Yes.
Real. Like it actually could happen. Look at Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's like one perfect example.
That's a great example of taking somebody where you describe their everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
And the world that goes on, well, really, it's more the house.
Yep.
The everyday life of the house. And then when the story really kicks off, you flip it.
Yeah.
For him, the flip is he went to a magic school. And he's like, oh, I am out of my element. What is going on here?
So he's learning it, but then he has a new everyday thing that we're learning about the entire...
Yeah, and then we learn about it with him.
Yep. And then what changes in the later books is, okay, we've seen what his everyday life is like, going to school, classes, Quidditch. Oh, now there's something else is happening that he can't go to classes because they've suspended them.
Right.
Or he's suspected of cheating, or the Twilight Whistle tournament is going on.
There's always part of the story element is changing the everyday life. You have to set what the everyday life is first before you can break it.
Yep.
Much when we were going over magic, before you can break your rules, you have to know what your where your rules stop.
Exactly. So knowing that and seeing how you can mix in your the class interactions and like what we talked about last episode, the politics, into everyday life. This is where you're going to do it. Do it here. This is the part you're going to show all this stuff in small pieces. Maybe you're overhearing little conversations here and there as you're walking past. Gives the world a feel alive.
Maybe you're telling the story of not a peasant, but a servant girl who, why do I keep going to girls? I don't know. But a servant girl that works inside the housing of the king or queen or royal family. Mm-hmm. And the change in her everyday life is that she's pulled from being a servant girl to now she's the best friend of the princess. Yeah. And it's just like, okay, well, I don't know how to interact with your world as the new everyday life, which now is the royal family everyday life. Yep. That's what you're finding out.
Mm-hmm. So it just, again, it goes to show how things work and how you can change and adapt their everyday life.
Yeah. And then your conflict actually can be, instead of her adapting to the new life of being the friend of the princess, it's actually her and the other servants. Yeah. She's just like, oh, we were best friends. And they're like, yeah, we were. We were. Now you friends with her. Now we're not cool anymore. And you're like, what? I mean, at the same time, you could have it totally flipped. that the princess is like, no, you can't be friends with them.
Or you can be like, she doesn't adapt to what she has to do to be the friend of the princess, and that can be conflict.
Right.
So again, it just goes to show you how to show the everyday life with these different things and all this cool stuff that we've been talking about. You want to show it in this area.
Yes.
Because it's going to be very, very important.
And class systems are also very important as to what your character's everyday life is going to be.
Not just everyday life, but their background.
Yeah, their history.
Yeah.
Their political view.
Yeah.
Like, really, there is... all of these topics that we've been going through have so much in common to each other that we had to keep going.
Yeah. So, Adam, do you have anything else you want to add to this topic?
No. No,
Okay.
I do not.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for you today. Be sure to comment down below what you thought about this. On your journey down to give us a comment, be sure to go over and hit that thumbs up. You clearly are liking what you're hearing. And from there, just move on over to the subscribe button. Click the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
I had to hit it 3 times because we got a new bell.
And then ring that bell.
Ding, ding for the notification squad.
And what's the tagline? You gonna wait? Hold on.
Yes.
Are you gonna have a meltdown this week?
No.
No.
So
So you actually can do your job.
So yes, what you're gonna do is you're gonna join the notification squad and rise above.
Still dumb.
Okay.
But after you
Be a star.
that's WWE's tagline. It's not as a biblical terms.
Get these hands.
That's still wrestling. Anyway,
Bang bang.
still wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, after you ring the bell, be sure to comment, and we'll talk to you in our next podcast.
Become the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
That's comics.